Good evening, good evening, good evening unto you. I pray that your day today has been all that you have expected it to be. I hope that today you received a little bit more understanding, gathered some information that's useful, and ready and willing to apply what you have received. You all, please forget my background. The phone would ring while I just have gone on a live. But anyway, we avoid the distractions. We pay them no mind. But I pray today that seriously, actually, you have accomplished what you wanted to accomplish today as far as how you have applied yourself to be equipped in this day that the Lord has made, of which we are to rejoice and be glad in, to change some things that need to be changed and situate some things that need to be situated, and to make sure your spirit is refreshed and to make sure your spirit is revived. That's my hope for you. I know definitely when I was awakened this morning and thanking God for his grace and mercy, I started reflecting on some things. Whenever I awaken in the morning, I usually like to spend some time, for those who know me, meditating, reflecting, and thinking on some things, basically quieting my spirit so that I can be able to hear some things that typically I probably wouldn't hear if I'm busy and I'm moving around and I'm all over the place. But this is what I wanted to share. And it's entitled Challenge to Change, Self-Confidence and Self-Love. A few moments ago, I was on a prayer call with the ministry that I fellowship and serve with and at. And I heard the words self-confidence. um when I heard the words self-confidence, I started thinking about it. I said, okay, self-confidence. Yes, a lot of us, we're wondering what's going on. We're wondering why, this is functioning, within me, or why is this not functioning within me? Self-confidence and self-love. Self-confidence and self-love will help direct and redirect, okay, divert some things going on mentally. I know that this month, in the month of May, is mental health awareness, and so there are a lot of people that are dedicated and committed to reaching out and helping other people that are dealing with any type of heaviness or confusion, so to speak, mentally, that is trying to understand and grasp some things that they have been having difficulties with. Of course, I am a believer as a child of God that prayer can remedy anything and all things. I am a believer that prayer can render breakthrough. I am a believer that prayer can actually it can open the spirit up if the vessel wants to open up, definitely, to help assist that person and push them on through, give them the support that they need, the encouragement that they need to come on through. And so what I wanted to say real quickly is, and share with you real fast, is that self-confidence and self-love is something that is lacking. And most times when you feel like you may have missed the mark about some things, or you're not where you think you need to be or you should be, or you do, comparison, you look on somebody else and you look at something else and you think to yourself, okay, I should have accomplished that already. And you start looking at yourself saying, well, look what you've done, now, or look what you should have accomplished or gotten completed by now. And so the spirit of comparison will rob us. It will rob us of loving ourselves and having confidence in ourselves. The spirit of comparison can actually shift us into a place that we don't need to be shifted into in the mind. It will cause us to be very disturbed and very disappointed and very frustrated about the course of our life, and where we think, we should be parallel and compared to other people. But the thing about it is, all of us have different experiences in life. We're all running a different pace. Yes, the race has easily been set before us by God, but a lot of us don't know how to run the race efficiently because we have not worked out. And so faith is Faith is the strength that we need. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, that will help us travel. It will help us accomplish some things in life that we don't think that we could get accomplished or could even do. And see, the thing about it is, by having faith, our trust actually is relied upon God. Our trust is actually placed in God, to understand that the strength that I need, the understanding that I need, it must come by God, because by my own strength, I'm going to get weary and well doing, and I'm going to want to faint. And I know I said going to want to faint. I'm going to want to faint. And so, we can only run so far by our own strength, but by the strength of God, we can accomplish some things and get to some places that we can't get to on our own, out of our own cerebral. And so the fact of the matter is, whenever we lack self confidence, whenever we lack self love, confidence is a power and love is a power that not only causes the person that believes in themselves, okay, but they receive every release given to them by God and other people that support them. If you have no confidence in anything, then you definitely don't apply much respect to it. If you don't have love for anything, or anyone, then you have a lack of respect for it. And anything that you have a lack of respect for, you're definitely not going to take seriously. You're not going to receive anybody's counsel. You're not going to receive the wisdom from anybody that you don't respect. Why? Because you have no love for the truth. And so we as people, when we have no love for the truth, then we stand for a lie, which is opinionated, not factual, and subject to change at any given time. And so I just wanted to share this with you right quick, because I know many of you may be preparing for Bible studies right now. Or if you're not even preparing for Bible studies, you may be in transition from work to home, or preparing dinner or whatever have you, in a conversation, with members in your household, friends, texting, get preparing yourself for tomorrow. Maybe you study, if you're enrolled in school, you're studying at this time. But whatever it is that you may be doing, whether it's a chore, or whether you're just reflecting, you're just thinking, you're meditating, you're praising, you're worshiping, you're praying, you may be serving, whatever it is that you may be doing, and you are hearing my voice at this time. Or even if you're watching the replay in the midst thereof, and you just click on it real quick and say, let me see what Christina talking about. Christina is wanting you to be encouraged today, to build up some self-confidence and to build up some love for yourself. You may love other people more than you love yourself, and have more confidence in other people than you have in yourself. And so there are many ways that you can build up self-confidence. Okay, it's many ways, I'm in it with you too, that we can build up self-love and not self-hate or unforgiveness or bitterness or regret. Okay, there's many ways that we can build it up. For one, if you care about your health, if you care about your body, confidence and love is definitely being applied. If you care about your future and about your purpose, self-confidence and love is definitely being applied. If you have any interest at all in making sure that you grow and develop the way that God desires to grow and develop, then definitely you have self-confidence and self-love applied. It may be a measure that you're not pleased with. Well, guess what? You have the ability, the opportunity as well, to build, to cause increase to that measure that you're already working with. You have opportunity to do it. Pouring into yourself, to build yourself up mentally, to build yourself up spiritually. Okay, to build yourself up physically. Okay, this is self-confidence and self-love applied. At the beginning of the year, so many people, and if you were one of them, bless God, so many people had New Year's resolutions. At the beginning of every year, when we close out one year and step over the threshold into a new year, we come up with so many ideas and so many ways of how we're going to do self-improvement, how we're going to do improvement on self more than anything. And then from there, we'll branch out and talk about the credit and the finances and the relationships and business ventures, and and what have you. But the thing about it is, at the beginning of the year, most of the resolutions that go forward be about self. So I got to ask you, what at the beginning of 2022 did you speak and say to yourself that you was going to improve, and how you were going to evolve, how you was not going to allow yourself to keep going around the same old mountain, how you were not going to allow yourself to be seated in the same old circles, how you was not going to allow yourself to be involved with things that are toxic and not fruitful. Okay, so what is it about? What did you tell yourself when you cross from 2021 into 2022? What exactly, I want to ask you, did you speak over your life? Did you say to yourself that, hey, I'm going to challenge myself to change this about myself? Because I understand that if I change, then everything that's connected to me and everything I'm connected to is bound to have to change as well. Why? Because if all of the things about me that I need to come in divine order for divine correction, it's going to be unto the Father. It's going to be unto the pleasing of God and not unto the pleasing of my flesh. And so, if you spoke these things of your life, release these things of your life, sow seed pertaining to things of the nature. A lot of ministries, they fast at the beginning of the year. Within the first quarter of the year, there's a lot of ministries that go on a soul fast. Well, I got to ask you, what do you feel and think about the status of your soul today? Because God, it is his desire. It's why he allowed his son to come to the earth so that we can be taught how to care and be concerned about the healthiness of our soul. How our soul longs for thee is what we say. God, my soul longs for thee, and I thirst after righteousness. God said, well, what are you doing to feed it? And what are you doing to make sure you're not thirsty? Because a lot of us, come on, I know what I'm talking about here. I done been here, I done that. You reach for things out in the world more than we reach for the word. My God, that's found amongst the believers in the household of faith. Come on, the household of prayer. We'll go out and reach and touch everything but the Bible. We'll do that. We'll reach out to a friend before the word. We'll reach out to some drinking before the word. We'll reach out to some smoking and some sexing and some gossiping before the word. Come on, I'm not trashing nobody. I'm not criticizing. I'm just speaking the things that I'm hearing that's on the heart of God that he's concerned about when it comes to us. Because when we have self-hate, when there's hate being inflicted, hate that's being built up on the inside of us to call us to inflict ourselves, we'll go through afflictions that we placed on ourselves. We'll beat ourselves. And I mean brutalize ourselves and scandalize our own self. You understand? We'll set our own self up for a fall. Why? Because there's a lack of confidence and there's a lack of love. And because of it, it'll result in having little to no hope, which also will have little to no faith as a measure that we operate by when it comes to believing I can do better. That what's coming is greater than what's been. The great I am said so. What's coming is better than what's been. But a lot of times we won't believe that because why? We don't have anything invested in ourselves. So we have a lack of self love. We have a lack of self confidence. And so it'll cause us not to continue on. We'll come to a standstill. We'll freeze up and we'll just stop, drop, and not pop and lock it. Instead, we'll just stand still. We'll stand still with a refusal on the table to move and go forward. Why? Because there's a lack of feeling important. If you don't believe that you're important to yourself, then how be it that to convince somebody else how important that we are? And if God sends someone alone that comes and taps us on the shoulder to wake us up and say, get up out of your sleep and up out of your slumber, up out of your stagnation, your procrastination, and come on and get with it because you slipping, dipping, and tripping, and therefore you are missing some opportunities that I'm sending to you. If he sends somebody comes tap you on your shoulder, that don't speak to where you are, but speak to where they know you are going and where you should be. They care nothing. I mean, nothing about the past. They're only looking at your present state and speaking to your future. Looking at your present, but speaking over your future. If God sends somebody to you, be grateful and be thankful. Because Joseph was thrown into a hole to be hidden by his brothers. He was in a holding place. See, the jail wasn't the first holding place for Joseph. For any that don't know that, the first holding place is he got thrown into a hole by his brothers. They hid him there. They didn't want to be caught that they kidnapped their brother and was trying to plot and plan on what to do with him, whether to kill him or whatever, you know. And so there were some merchants that came along, saw him in a hole, got him out, seen that he was fair. They saw the value on this man. This man was in a hole, but they saw the value on this man. I gotta ask you, is there anybody see the value on you while you in a hole? Or let me ask you, do you see the value on somebody while they're in a hole? Because we got to be careful how we go about now, passing people up and skipping over them, jumping over them just because they in a hole. It's only temporary. See, the jail cell was temporary for Joseph. You understand? But I don't hear too many people talk about that hole that Joseph got thrown into. Help me, Father, that I preach this one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe even now. God said, give me the glory. Okay, here we go. So Joseph was in that hole. Hmm. And so the merchants came by, they saw Joseph in that hole, the first holding place that Joseph went in before he went to the jail cell. See, we preach about he went from the pit to the palace, and it be reflected on about the jail. But what about how he got thrown in that hole by his own family members? And the merchants came by and they seen that he was good merchandise, and they took him, and he was sold for slavery over into the land. Come on now, over into the place. Come on now, where he was going to rise up, over into the place. Come on, he went into the place that was good for him to enter into. So we say it was good that I was afflicted, because now I understand my affliction was only opportunity, and it was only the gateway for me to get into the place divinely ordered by God that I need to be in and be at, so that he may get the glory out of the gifts that he's given me, that he may get the glory out of my life while I'm being sustained and praising him, that he may be high and lifted up that men may see that you can come up out the gutter for real and be something and somebody. Isn't that the truth that we need to speak to our children today, our youth? Don't matter, baby boy or baby girl, that you was raised in the projects. Oh, it don't even matter. It doesn't matter that you know that you wasn't born into a family that were millionaires. It don't matter who told you you can't have a future just because you wasn't born into a lineup of doctors and lawyers and nurses. See, let me tell you something. Yeah, the child or the children, our children are born into that bloodline. It's just that some people didn't succeed. Oh, it's in the bloodline. See, the blessing be in the bloodline. In order to denounce the curse, it got to be a blessing somewhere. So the blessing is in the bloodline. It's just that mama and daddy and grandmama and granddaddy might just didn't fully pursue. They might have got distracted or detoured or changed their mind and decided to, go into another field of expertise. They might have decided to go into something else to do with their life. But it's in there. Oh, it's in the blood. It's in the vein. It's in the house. Oh, yes, it is. It's in the flow. So we have to teach our children that no matter what it is in the bank account or what's on the shoes or the clothes that they're wearing, it can't stop or block the mind from flowing. The spirit can soar as high as it want to soar. Oh, yes, it can. But now, first of all, in order to employ somebody else out of a hole, you know, you got to understand the value of merchandise. You got to understand the power of worth. You got to understand that a person's value doesn't depreciate because of the atmosphere they're in or the environment. They can only depreciate and decrease if on the inside they think nothing of themselves. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So it takes a strong person that has confidence and love in order to minister to somebody that's lacking in the area of confidence and love. See, if you low and I'm low, then where we gonna go? Now, here's something else though to think about, metaphorically speaking. And then I'm about to get off here in a minute. Metaphorically speaking, if I was once in a hole and God allowed me to get out the hole and I've been strengthened and I figured out. See, there's a saying, and my daddy used to tell me this all the time. He said, there was once a man that was in a hole. And people were walking by because they couldn't figure out how to get him out the hole. But there came a one that got off in the hole with him. And he asked me, he said, why did you get off in this ditch with me? Why did you say, because I was once here and I figured out how to utilize what I have to climb up and get on up out of here. And I told myself that when I got out of here, that I was going to help everybody else who's trying to figure out what they done got themselves into. And everybody else running around in massive confusion because they're looking for a big thing on the outside to get you out. But really, there's a big thing on the inside that can get you out. What am I talking about? Greater is he that is in us than he that's in the world. And so there's nothing that we get into that God, who is greater in us, can get us out of. So I want to say I love you on the night. I pray that your day continuously thrive by the grace and mercies of God. But I want to leave with you these words of encouragement. I want to challenge you to change something about yourself, because I'm being challenged to change it about myself. We're going to come on up a little bit higher in the area of self-confidence and self-love. And guess what? It's not going to be employed by people, places, or things. It's not going to be employed by that. No, because see, worship. Come on now, worship will bring us up out of anything, but a lot of people don't know how to worship. But a lot of people may understand how to build themselves up in self confidence and self love, by buying something from themselves, purchasing items, or however they may go about doing it. But here's the thing right here, most importantly, that cannot be twisted or even misunderstood. Peace is not for sale. Peace doesn't come with a price tag. You understand? Peace is not for sale. Wisdom cannot even be bought. Wisdom can't be bought, and peace is not for sale. Okay. We need to understand that real quickly. And so that means that I don't go put myself out there on display and sell myself to the highest bidder that can come along and make me feel like I'm something or make me feel like I'm somebody. That's temporal. People keep receipts. Don't you understand? When we go to the store, don't we keep receipts? You keep a receipt because there just may be a case where you decide you want to return the item back. And in order to get a full refund the way you paid for whatever you paid for, the store prefer that you have a receipt. Well, people keep receipts on other people. And that means if they decide to take you back to where they got you from, they want to cash back in and get out what they put in. But some of us know that sometimes you can hold on for something so long that by the time you take it back, it's already didn't hit the clearance rate and you don't get your full refund back. Then you're hotter than a firecracker. See, we can't sell ourselves as slavery over the people. The next thing that come along to make you feel good. The next thing that come along to make you feel like you're something. See, we're not merchandise that can be sold. We're not a piece of cookies, women. We're not merchandise that can be sold. Man of God, come on now. It's more to you than your abs and your biceps and your triceps, and a pretty smile and some smooth skin, or even your money. Can't buy a woman, can't buy love. You can entertain her maybe into considering you, but you can't persuade her to stick and stay with you, you know? So it is well. It is so. And it shall be. Blessings to you. I just challenge you tonight as I'm challenging myself. Build up in the area of self confidence and self love. God says it's not what goes into us that defiles us, it's what comes out of us that defile us. So we're always speaking hatred and bitterness and negativism and pesticism, then that's what is going on the inside. But if we find and muster up the energy and the strength, and no matter what's going on and happening on the outside, that on the inside, we're not becoming slaves and prisoners to toxic thinking and negative thinking, we're going to be all right because we have some hope. And they make him not ashamed. Romans chapter 5. We have some hope. Yes, we do. And we understand. I want to challenge you to read Romans chapter 5 because there is a formula in there. Oh, God is a scientist. There's a formula in Romans chapter 5. And when you read it, you're going to see something. You're going to say, now that produces that, and that produces that, and that produces that. And the full conclusion, the whole duty of man is what? Let's love each other and serve God. So read Romans chapter 5, because there's a formula in there. Can I tell you that that formula in Romans chapter 5 delivered me out of some of the most terrible distress that I had going on? Even to this day, I don't even think I've encountered distress like that before. And this was 10 years ago. Was it 10 years? Excuse me, 12 years ago. There was a formula in Romans chapter 5 that I read. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I got delivered by picking up the Bible and reading Romans chapter 5. My children were restored. Christina was restored. Things were restored to us that I thought was lost and gone and would never come back. Romans chapter 5. Read it and read it well. And please testify and share with somebody what you found out in Romans chapter 5, because you're going to understand that there's a greater love that exceeds any human being on this earth. Oh, it's the love of God, it's the love of Jesus. There's a greater confidence that'll be built up and reading Romans chapter 5. Oh, yes, it will. That will cause you to understand when God said, get up off that dunghill, and we know what that really means in layman's terms. Before we got our mouth washed out and the hot cold touched the tongue, so that the mouth can be purified. When God said get up off that dunghill, that's exactly what he means. Some of us, I'll just use this term, we need to get up out the cow manure. Because somebody, in a lot of cases, people didn't push us in there. Now we just waddling all around in that stank stuff and stirring it up. Why? Because we have low self-esteem and we don't think very highly of ourselves. And so because we think then we roll around it, and then we serve up, and everything just smells like. I kept it clean. I love you. So blessings unto you. Woven women of virtue, encountering newness, wounds of virtue, embracing newness. You are chosen. You are woven. You are definitely chosen and not frozen. As I posted the other day, we're going to thaw our peace. We're going to thaw our joy. We're going to thaw our love. We're going to thaw our strength. We're going to thaw our confidence, because some of us that put in a Ziploc bag and put it up in the freezer because our hearts have grown so cold. And God says he want to take our heart of stone and give us a heart of flesh. So blessings to you, seriously woven. Women of virtue, you coming on through and you coming on out. Yeah, get ready. You in your last trimester. Get ready now to bear down and start pushing, because you about to birth something that has not been seen before in your circle of influence, in Jesus' name. Pearls, productive, excellent radical leaders and servants. If you're listening, if you're watching the replay, blessings unto you. Pearls are meant to be preserved, not casted among swine. Amen. Pearls are meant to be preserved. Clutch them. Hold on to them. And don't just give them away so easily. They may not shine bright like a diamond, but you better believe that what a pearl has to go through, what a pearl has to, what a pearl has to endure, so that the value of it, when it comes out of the mantle and out of the shell and be revealed, no man can look at it and say miss, low value, and no worth. Because what you was created out of and what you had to go through for your creation, pearls. Yeah, it ain't gonna be too many more times you're gonna run out there and have them prodigy moments. You understand? So blessings unto you until next time. What they say in the world of social media on Facebook, click, tag, and share if you led to do so. If not, eat it up. Get full for yourself. I am. Bless God. It is well.